Welcome back to another episode on Helga, my 94 Euro-Spec M3. We're here to pull the front end, engine trans, so we can do Vanos upgrades, Vanos rebuilds, and some other cool stuff to the motor. Common problem amongst most BMWs is a Vanos. It's both a rattle and a seal issue. Really common. The older the car gets, the more like it happens. When the seals start going, they don't build pressure and you don't get full cam advance or retard, which means a loss in power. And I felt that. I felt that a couple times the Vanos is slipping. So Vanos needs to be done. I'm using an upgraded kit from Bessian Systems with upgraded Viton seals, and we're going to rebuild the Vanos. Thing is, it's a bit of a pain to get to. It's all tucked down tight into the radiator and the radiator fan. I got to pull a lot of stuff off to get there. And the challenge too is when you're working in an unfamiliar territory, I haven't done a Vanos before, and you can't really see what you're doing, it's a bit of a dangerous area. So to do this, it probably makes sense to pull the front end off, so I get easy access to see what I'm seeing. If I'm pulling the front end off, might as well yank the motor too. Why? Because it's much easier to do all the other maintenance I want to do, rather than stuck under in the cold garage underneath with no space and no visibility. So for the sake of a 3 or 4 hour period to pull the motor, I have way better access to the motor and all the stuff I want to do to it. And so it's just going to be easier, better, and more comfortable. GoPro died at some point, so you didn't see some of the tail end of this prep for the motor pull. I had to do a lot of harness removal. Unfortunately, unlike a lot of motors where the engine harness travels with the motor, you can disconnect it at the firewall. This one, everything's connected to the actual chassis, so you have to disconnect everything. So there's basically 5 sub-harnesses. There is the plug coil harness, which comes down this side of the motor. Everything runs through this main harness cross. There's another harness which is for the injectors, the Vanos, and the air pump. There's another harness that runs all the way down the side of this motor here, all underneath, and that's for things like the NOx sensors, the oil pump, oil pressure, alternator, and starter motor is all in this sub-harness. There's another harness which tees off of that, which is for the O2 sensors, which have to be pulled, including the transmission reverse light switch. And running across the radiator, not subframe, the radiator core support was another cross harness for all the lights and stuff. So
a lot of harnessing going on here, Moose.
A lot of harnessing. I was harnessing. I was deharnessing.
You were harnessing the harnesses.
I was.
So with that all out of the way now, it looks like we're pretty much ready to pull this thing, eh?
Yep. I mean, I pulled the power steering pump out of the way. Transmission is disconnected from the drive shaft. All I have to do is pull the shift knob or the shift linkage, and we'll be able to drop this thing out and pull and yank it out. Back at the Speed Academy shop. It's been a couple of weeks since we pulled the motor from Helga. So today I'm going to split the motor in trans, pull the clutch and flywheel, and clean this dirty bitch up. Ew. She's dirty. Pretty sexy factory headers and pretty serious flanges with ports to allow you to plug in, which I think you can plug in EGTs. Pretty slick system overall. Next steps. I need to remove this, which is the bracketry, which holds the air pump and the AC unit, which I'm deleting both. But there is 4 bolts. Well, this way, but there's 2 cross bolts, which are unfortunately behind the crank pulley balancer timing ring. Can't get at them very easily without it, so I'm going to remove the crank pulley and then the balancer so I can get this bracket off. This also, the balancer really has to come off as well because there's a whole bunch of oily schmutz down and behind. If I want to clean it properly, I need to pull that off anyway. So, off she comes. Blah, 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 blah. I'm feeling lucky in every round. The forces struck me. I'm chewing gum. The Royal Empire is sleeping now. I'm soon walking in the new real dawn. I just need more time. I just need more time. I just need more time. She's all cleaned up. Can of degreaser, a couple cans of brake clean. It's where I want it to be for the next set of steps. So that's a wrap for this episode. What's next? I'll be pulling the Vanos assembly, rebuilding that, and a whole bunch more coming episodes. So watch. Welcome back. We're here in the shop with blah, 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 blah. So I'm back in the shop, blah, blah, blah. I'm back in the Speed Academy shop. It's been a couple of weeks since we pulled the motor from Helga. It's time to do some more work. I'm gonna split the clutch. Yeah, I'm not gonna split the clutch. I'm gonna go away and start again, because that sucked.